15 lakhs in Japan. International caregiver jobs now open. 80 plus candidates already placed. Visit us today to know more.
Shillong Press Club haringkat kejingitrai langbat ke Directorate of Information and Public Relations DIPR haga khandai tre ujemmang arajar arpunrio hila penlong haga benta banikong jong kane kesngi daka phang jingatai halor ka rukam pathai khubor yaki mukadama sha thombor ki hepret lane ka pokso case haga jingrakhi yak World Press Freedom Day arajar arpunrio yakabala dei ban penlong haga laitre ujemmang arajar arpunrio Lapanya ikani ka phang jingatai bat bo jingkali daka kong iban kentiu Maori executive member jang Shillong Press Club Malaysian benta ban ai jing batai bat ban juba pat daka agatha kiesang ma chairperson Kamigalaya State Commission for Protection of Child Rights ka kong NG Shilla advocate Lem Ubipul Das deputy SP crime East Khasi Hills district.
When it comes to POCSO cases, all of us know it is extremely sensitive. We are dealing with children who first of all are not able to sometimes even understand what they have been through. So to handle children and the news regarding children, I think one has to keep the sensitivity at the forefront. We can't just talk about it as a breaking news or something where you're competing with other news channels to be able to be reporting something first. So I think in fact, like if you look at it, there is a section 23 in the POCSO Act itself, which tells you as a media what you're supposed to do. It is categorically written that when you're reporting, the identity of the child must not be declared. And often, even in Meghalaya, we have seen some cases where the media sometimes has made some mistakes, perhaps, and fallen into trouble because they have sort of not abided by this particular section. So I would just say that in a situation like this, we have to be sensitive, and we have to ensure that we are not running for a breaking news, sort of a situation, but dealing with it in a more humanitarian manner. So I think that is something that is not just that applies to the media, but it applies to every sector that is perhaps going to be dealing with POCSO cases. Like for instance, we have the police. Sometimes investigations takes place. What happens is children are asked traumatizing questions again and again. So the sensitivity has to be there, not just for the media, but even the police sometimes has to ensure that they manage a child and understand the psychology of a child before taking on the case.
The report obviously will have to be made first to an adult, that is by the survivor, because it's not easy for a child to come out in the open, because more often than not, the child is always disbelieved. Many in our society will say, maybe you are mistaken. And that is the first thing that makes children think twice before coming forward. It's only when the adult believes the child that then the complaint is either made before the concerned authorities, that is the police, or it is settled. There are many instances where the matters are settled, whereby such offences are not reported. Number one, and the reason till date, even for women survivors, not just child survivors, stigma. Stigma in society. And that's why, if it does not go to the police station, obviously it will not be known to the media also. Because the media cannot make a report or not make a report on the basis of rumors. It has to be asserted that such a thing had happened. Because under the POCSO Act, there is punishment for false information also. We cannot say that, it came out on social media. Now, social media is no longer limited to just journalists. All of us are actually tech-savvy today, and we make our own reels. In fact, some individuals have started their own news reporting channels, YouTube channels, not your, national or state-rated channels. So, regard to that, we have to be very careful. We cannot rely on rumor. That is the first important rule that a journalist must remember. Do not rely on rumor, because you will be taken to task, number one. Number two, the media house you're reporting for will also be taken to task. You're not, as a journalist, you might be freelancing, but you are also freelancing for some of the media houses, right? So they'll also be taken to task. We've had many cases in the High Court whereby certain news houses and journalists have also been dragged. Why? Because of publishing of names in the media, either through written or in the videos. And we have till date that is still very, very disturbing, because POCSO says that not just the name, not just a photograph, not just the address of the survivor should be printed, but even the informant, that is the nearest relative of the child. But more often than not, we still see till date that the media reports that so and so has complained that their child, the name of the father or the mother, is still there. You have to abstain from that, because when your reporting is scrutinized by the court, mind you, it's the prosecutor and the defense who will be doing it, and the judge will be judging it. So it's no longer just your defense. The prosecutor will take note that so and so act has disturbed the ingredients of the provisions of POCSO Act. So as reporters, you have to be aware of what the law provides for your reporting. Under POCSO, it's very clear, sections 20, right from 19, chapter 5, procedure for reporting cases. I don't have to go through that, but you must be aware that every act you do reporting such news, because mind you, it becomes sensational, so reporting such news comes with a penalty in case you have violated any of the offences provided by POCSO. And also please remember, it does not stop with the act. You know, our Supreme Court, what it passes today becomes a law. So it might be an improvisation on what the law provides also. So that is something that the journalists have to keep in mind.
Actually, POCSO Act cases are very challenging cases, because the crimes which are committed, it is basically within the books. There is no witness to prove the case. So basically, we have to focus on the statement of the victim and mother or whosoever the information was passed to. So basically, we have to rely on the statement of the witnesses. If there is if there is prompt in reporting such cases, then we have to go for medical reports, medical test and all these things. And if it is positive, well and good. But most of the cases actually it is reported after 1 week, 10 days, 15 days, something like that. So those cases again it is a hindrance. At the time of the day, cases goes on reported. Okay. And basically in POCSO cases, there are nothing much to be done if everything is okay. Basically in investigation we have to focus on only 3 things. That is statement of your complainant and witnesses, medical report, and if permits, your DNA or other report, FSL reports. So apart from POCSO cases, I would like to say these days you people media people are very active in reporting and all these things. But one thing you should remember, if the accused was not arrested till that point of time, they are also watching. They are watching your reports and they are chalking out their plans. They are checking out their plans how to defend ourselves. So perhaps whenever you publish any news, any media items, so you should be very cautious. Like there should be checks and balances for publishing news item, actually in POCSO cases. Okay. So for example, although it is not related to POCSO, last year there was a sensational case, Raja Raghuvansh's mother case. So till that time, on 23rd they went missing. So from the 23rd of May, media trial has started. Where is Sonam, where is this thing like that, all these things were there. But we as an investigator, we have investigated that case. During investigation, we managed to check the mobile phone of the accused, and I found each and every detail in the mobile phone, each and every clips, in the sense like all the media, whatever was published, they were sharing. So my contention is that, my question is that whatever you publish, there should be a check and balance.
Recently, in the past, some news agencies in Meghalaya who have been summoned for revealing the name of the survivor or the victim. So there are instances where things like that happen. So I guess, going back to the previous questions as well, it is very important for journalists to become well informed. Like if we have taken up such a big responsibility and a person's life depends on it, a person's reputation depends on it, it's very important for the media to be responsible. Like how Spider-Man would say, with great power comes great responsibility. So the power of the pen, as we all know, is way more, that it has so much more weight than any other tools that we have. So when we have the ability to write something or report something or share somebody's story, we have to keep the child in mind, and we have to ensure that this is being done for the benefit of the public at large. Not to in any way disclose the child's history or the child's details or whereabouts. But the purpose of why media should be reporting such cases is to just generate more information, awareness, so that people become more aware. So when we look at the POCSO Act, a lot of it has to do with when the incident has already happened and what are the provisions to make sure that the child gets justice if he or she becomes a victim under the POCSO. But it also talks about prevention. One of the good parts about the POCSO is that it talks about how the civil society can also play a big role in preventing these incidences from happening. So the media can talk about or write more articles about how child sexual abuse has become so much more common than we had thought. When we look at, all of us were listening to the Epstein files, a couple of months ago till the Iran war took over, and now there's nothing on Epstein files. But we know that child sexual abuse is something that has been happening, and it is something that happens everywhere. It's not just India, but in the entire world there is a big problem where children are being misused and exploited. And I think that one of the main things that you in the media and we sitting here as advocates, as people from the police department, and as me as part of the commission, our role is to actually ensure that the prevention takes place. I think if a perpetrator knows that if you are convicted under POCSO, there can also be a death penalty. I'm sure that many people would, many offenders would probably not commit that crime because right now they don't understand the magnitude of what an offense under POCSO could do. So we generate more information telling the world at large that if you were to become a perpetrator under POCSO, you could actually have a death penalty. And that is something that is a very, very strong punishment under the POCSO, which was meant to create a deterrent. But right now, I feel that more and more cases are being reported. I don't know if incidences have increased, but reporting definitely has increased. And we see that there are a lot of cases under POCSO, since it has come about. One more thing that is very prevalent nowadays under POCSO is what we call the Romeo and Juliet cases. So cases that shouldn't really be considered POCSO cases, but it involves adolescents who are consensually in a relationship, also comes under POCSO. And that is again, sometimes being reported by media houses and stuff like that. So I think that when we report, we have to pick and we have to see the reason why we are reporting. We are not reporting to spoil the reputation of the survivors, but we are reporting to make sure that justice is delivered and it acts as a deterrent so that in the future the public knows that, if you were to be an offender under POCSO, very, very serious conviction could take place, and you could even get death penalty.
When it comes to investigation, we know that the person who is aware of any kind of a relationship, be it anything that will come under the definition of an offence under POCSO, they have to report it. When it comes to medical institution, the doctors have to report it. One-stop centers, if it comes to the police also, it has to go to the database. Okay. Now we are talking about Romeo Juliet cases. Right now, with our very own High Court in Meghalaya, ever since our new Honorable Chief Justice has come, she's taken a view, and this has been reflected in many cases, whereby POCSO cases have been caught on with regard to these young couples. Some couples, the girl might be a minor, the boy might be a major, and in some cases, both are minors. Now, what is important is that the law is there, black and white, but the lifestyle of every society differs. And when it comes to our society, especially because we have a mix of rural-urban way of living in Meghalaya, we see that girls as young as 14, 15 tend to cohabit or maybe get engaged in sexual relations with the opposite sex. So when this is reported, it comes to the data that this is a POCSO offence. So what is done is usually for want of a word, because it's a court proceeding case, it's the male is called the accused person. So he will approach the High Court for what's called quashing of proceedings. Now, if they come for quashing of proceedings, we have noticed in our very own High Court that if they are still staying together, because more often than not they will get bail one time or the other, right? It's not like until the entire case is completed with evidence and exhibits that the person will be let go of. Especially cases where there is consent from both parties, although the word consent does not really matter to minors, but if they're living together, they have a child, and they're creating a home together, we have noticed that our Honorable High Court has now quashed such proceedings because they should be given a fresh start in life. And it's not just our own High Court. We will go to other High Courts also, including in the metros and other states. They have taken this step because why? If a person is going to be convicted, which he will be, because consent does not matter for somebody under the age of 18. If there's conviction, the family is already broken apart, and single mothers is always on the rise, especially in our state of Meghalaya. So to prevent such mishappenings, there is a quashing of proceedings. But mind you, it's not strictly. Our Honorable High Courts goes on a case-per-case basis. They look at the facts and circumstances involved. They actually ask even the survivor, she's still termed as a survivor until the case closes, whether she wishes to pursue her studies, whether she wishes to go for a vocational course, and there are government schemes which the court will then, because we have State Legal Services Authority and District Legal Services Authority, to help the survivors hand in hand, to help them achieve an independent life. Independent life in the sense like financially independent, but at the same time making sure that such relationships do not create further cracks in the life of the survivor. So this is what has happened to date with regard to our Honorable High Court. Conviction rates when it comes to sexual offences against women and children. Till date, our Honorable Supreme Court says that the statement of the prosecutrix, that is the survivor, will suffice. Why? Because like our DSP said, sexual offences will not be committed in public, so there will be no eyewitnesses. Sometimes we will look at even the medical legal report, many things are absent. But the Honorable Supreme Court has said that mere absence of scratches or bruises, it's not enough to say that it was consensual. I'm talking about women over here, adult women, or even children, because it might have happened that they were coerced or they were frightened or threatened, so they have to give in. So that's why when it comes to conviction, there has been a very, very strong, positive, you can say, results when it comes to conviction of such cases. But of course, mind you, just because it's a POCSO case does not ultimately come to a 100% conviction in all cases. The law takes its course. Evidence has to be taken. Exhibits have to be taken. Of course, when it comes to exhibits, we are a bit behind because why? Samples, as has been stated by the DSP, they are taken after a period of time. Sometimes the survivor is given a bath or takes a bath, then goes to the hospital, whereby if there's wear and tear, fine, but if there's blood, it's absent. If there are semen that is available also, it gets washed away. So yes, it's not that just because it is a POCSO case, it will lead to conviction. Because mind you, when it comes to when we are talking about the provision of POCSO, we were talking about false reporting by reporters. There's also false reporting by a minor, but it does not provide for punishment for a minor. There's no punishment. Why? Because they're protected. They're protected under the law because they might have been coerced to make the complaint so that adults can settle some dispute amongst themselves. They might have been forced, they might have been threatened, anything, manipulated to make a complaint. Nevertheless, law takes its course because the designated courts are there. We have special courts now. As you're aware, we only have 2 in Shillong. We have 1 in Tura, we have 1 in Northern, 1 in Nongpo, and others they're being taken up additionally by the district and sessions judges, but all POCSO cases are going to come up independently within a very short time in ASPI. So this does not go on to say that the conviction is merely because there's a complaint and will lead to conviction. Evidence will take its course.
What happens to the accused then, the person who's so accused of committing that crime, and if he did not, then is compensation being paid to that person?
See, what the accused can do now, it's come out in the papers, right? So more often than not, he can always seek something called as defamation. And that's what the papers have to be very careful about. Many people have sued newspapers for defamation. Many are still also pending in the district court. So that's why when I say you have to get your facts correct, that is always wait for data from the police. Now, when you get data from the police, more or less you are protected. You do not go by rumor. Rumor, you're exposing your own vulnerability. But when you go to the police, Supreme Court says every complaint that comes before the police has to be registered. They don't investigate and then register. They have to register. Except unless it's like it's happening right now, then they can put in their GD entry. That's besides the point. But they have to register cases. It is mandatory. And something also called as the zero FIR. It doesn't mean that if a crime has happened in Lenka and suppose somebody gets to know in Laban, they can go and inform the police over there and the case can be transferred to Lenka. That's something called as zero FIR, which we must also be aware of.
There is a hesitation from the agency. So when such cases come to you, how do you release information to the media? Because we understand that, like Madam she mentioned just now, that you cannot rely on rumors. So obviously we cannot write on a report based on hearsay. We have to report based on the facts that the police will provide us. But if police do not provide us, how can we get the information?
Thank you, ma'am. Actually, before answering to Madam's question, let me answer the percentage of conviction in the state of Meghalaya. Perhaps in POCSO cases, conviction rate is around 80%. Some cases get acquittal because of some tactical faults and all. And as I already said, that POCSO cases, they are many cases. The cases are less. If the medical is negative, then perhaps case is on. But nevertheless, if it is a true case, then we put our level best to collect evidence and submit a charge sheet before the court. So now, information for the media. From my practical experience, if I say last year that case, Most of the media people, either they are in SP's office, and some of them, they used to come to my channel, seeking information. And I believe we have provided whatever information we can, like keeping checks and balances. Because we cannot disclose everything. If we disclose everything, then our case is gone. And for your kind information, FIR is a public document. Anybody can collect it. Now I think it is available in the portal also. You can download from the portal. So FIR itself gives most of the information. Now media people are very curious. They want to know like what is the outcome, what is the development in the case. So like during the initial phase, the development is perhaps around 40 to 50%. So we cannot divulge everything to the media. We can divulge certain aspects. Okay, investigation is going on. We have arrested XYZ person. So that much we can divulge. But we are pressurized to say, we are pressurized by the media to divulge like what are the evidences? What are the evidences? What are the materials we have collected? So these things if we disclose, as I already told you, accused are also there. He is also watching. It is not that only public are watching the news. Accused are also watching. They are also preparing their own defense. Do you agree with me? So they are also watching. They are also preparing their own defense. So perhaps whatever we are divulging to the media, it is basically with checks and balances. And I think there is no instances in which media were not informed, were not provided information by the police department.
Hakabenta ka baar jongan ni sngipat kaladon ka program hakabalawan banyadon lang daw ba lakmen rumboy umentri badik mi yakatanat information and public relations ka sarkar jilla kumukongsan nolor ba lakmen rumboy laidon lang ru daw ba BS Solia IAS director katanat IPR kakong Demi Bandabla na ka Miglaya Editors and Publishers Association MEPA nolor kinongkit kam ka Shillong Press Club ki officer bat nong try katanat IPR.
I am free, yes. But I cannot take my freedom for granted so that your freedom might be curtailed. Everybody is free, so everybody is free in our society. And that goes for us as government servants, as public representatives, as members of the press and the public at large. We are all free, but we have to make sure and be conscious of the fact that we cannot impede or go into that space of the freedom of the other person who's standing next to me, who's sitting close to me, who's 500 kilometers away from me. I think you understand what I'm saying. And the next word is responsible. Yes, that's true. We're all responsible to all our professions, to what we are doing as members of the press. We have to, tell the world news, stories, certain stories that which we think that will excite the public out there as they read or as they go through snippets or reels or stories printed in the form of newspapers. We're like, okay, now this will give us a good traction as far as the public is concerned. Okay, but then the word responsible has come in. You have to be responsible enough to know that will this story, yes, we will sell this newspaper, it will circulate even at a better pace, at a better rate if the story hits the headlines. But are we responsible enough to know that whoever is in this story, there might be 2, 3, 4, 5 parties. Are all these parties, been talked to? Have they been, been brought on the board? Have they been, their side of the story too? But sometimes stories, with no offense, it's always we all know that it's one-sided. It's one-sided. Only a certain party, whether it's it's doing great or it's not doing great at all. But then there's another side, there's a flip side to that story. There's the other parties. They ought to be brought in. Then it'll be balanced. Hence the word responsible here. Thank you, Bhavaya. And independent press. Yes, we are all independent. Press here is independent. Although we work together side by side with as far as journalist welfare schemes concerned, pension, medical reimbursement, etc. Perhaps we'll take another day, another forum to go in length to discuss about these issues. And I would like to say that our minister has taken upon the responsibility of having a number of meetings, in fact, with the members of the press to address these issues. These issues are dynamic. These issues they keep on, they change day by day. Members of the press, we have issues that which touches them when it comes to certain things that we ought to, how much from the government side, the department or the directorate should be, more helpful, and that the independence of the press, cannot be, touched in such a way that it becomes dependent. So that's independent. It should be independent, it should not be dependent. But most of the time, sometimes, perhaps as a department, perhaps as a directorate, we tend to be dependent also. But now the word here is independent, so we shall strive at that.
Each and everybody have the freedom to express themselves, to express their ideas, to express their grievances. So, as I said, I'm very happy that we are living in this society. I'm very happy also successive government that they never use or misuse the press for their own benefit. There is a cordial relationship between the government, the press, between the government and the law enforcing agency, between the government and the legal fraternity, and also the press and with all the traditional head and everybody. So in the context of Meghalaya, what I have said that we are very fortunate, especially in these days when we have seen all over the world, all over, even in our country also, there are some restrictions and some diktat from somebody that what to be done, what to do and what not to do. Having said that, the role of the press now, it has become very, very important. Because if you remember correctly, that since the time of COVID-19, we have seen that the value of the press is, so to say, slightly coming down. With the advent of social media, and it is very difficult for the people to judge which one is right and which one is wrong. And when we see at the newspaper today, we don't know whether it is a newspaper or a tabloid or just the one of the advertising paper. We don't know. So for all these things, the freedom of press should be used how to inculcate ourselves in this dynamic world to face the changing with the changing of times. Now if we read, there are so many things happen in the state of Meghalaya. I'm not telling that everything is perfect. There are so many things. And we as the government, we as the lawmaker, sometimes we are at that. We don't know the ground realities because the quality, the press, the media, which report to us, there is some sort of disconnect. So what I urge, you have a total freedom in Meghalaya. If you want to build a society which is vibrant, a society which can deliver to the people, you have the freedom to report anything you like, as long as it's a fact. But if you want to twist the fact, that is the problem. So reporting of the fact every comment, every agency, every department, they are always welcoming. Because we know the role of the media is the fourth pillar in the society. So it is very a duty to see that they give the right information to the people. So what in this day, today, I urge upon my media friend, I urge upon let us try to be dynamic in our thought process and how to face the challenge of this social media, how to face the challenge of misinformation, how to face the challenge of twisting of the fact, so that we could build a society where there is a freedom for every, not only for the press, the freedom for the people to express also, without the fact, without anybody, without any hindrance. So, my dear friend, as I said, we live in Meghalaya. As I said, we are not perfect, but we need your freedom to report the fact, to report everything, because otherwise the press fraternity will be taken over by the social media, by the blogger, by something or other.
Habatin, page bahagi kishab, kashab plus F.
Ka plus F?
Hakabam bangibam dunaki eki bataye kamet. Namar kata habathiru atau khau kamlu ka umpnyang kadut pet ya kashab plus F hakajingsom. Yaki nutrient kumki vitamin bat ka ayan la icon diat bat ka bathau bha kam kta ai ka dur jingki marbam ka jingma lani ka rukom shed yaki. Balehi banai kita. Kadon ka we ka jing mentoy ba kongsan. Ka kot ka kia. Ka nutrition bakam bha ka jing im bakam bha pendon kam daki marba madon ka sharp plus F menta kasni.
Lawan Ra Shafi Lingba ko office jong Commissionerate of Food Safety Meghalaya.